Many of you may be curious. You might be wondering why. Why tell all these stories? Why recount the past? I mean, literally, this is the stuff I can remember. I hope someday I can remember all of it, but I don't know. I don't think that's up to me. The truth is because the past becomes our present. That's the reason you have to dig into the past and you have to understand what happened to you and you have to understand how it affects you now. The truth is, if I would have said, why bring up the past? Leave it in the past. I would be a terrible father right now. I would be a terrible husband. I would not be a good man because the past dictates the present and the present dictates the future. That's exactly why I started sharing all my stories from the past that I can remember pretty much through everything at this point that I can think of. Every single story that I had, I've shared them. And I'm sure there's many, 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 many more, but I can't remember. I've shared every single thing I remember from the past growing up. Now, some may say to themselves, well, isn't this, disrespectful towards your parents or something like that? I think that some could take this that way. I understand. However, the truth is the truth. A great man once said, the truth will set you free. I am not the person in my present anymore that my past created. I'm a very, very different person. And I still have my foibles. I still have my flaws as a human being. Yet I found my freedom in the truth of what the past is. What I've found is that many people refuse to look at their past. They choose to have phrases such as, it wasn't that bad, rule their life, which keeps you in bondage in the present to what happened in the past. There are reasons why we do what we do. One of my phrases I've coined to explain that is that the first crimes that were ever committed in the life of a criminal were committed against the criminal when they were little, and the only person who ever heard about them was their pillow as they were crying into it. Now, for those that are hard out there in the world and everything like that and think that this type of stuff's ridiculous, I can understand that. I can get that. I'm not denigrating being strong and being competent and capable for enduring these things. What I'm simply saying is that undealt with things lead to men that are unmastered in their life. And that includes me. I've got a lot more mastery to do, a lot more mastery to go. And I'm proud to admit that because as it stands right now, we're going to head into the next chapter, what this channel is going to become, which is all of the things that happened because of me in my life, the things I'm not proud of. I'm a full-sended on it. Because I truly believe that without being honest and true to oneself, one can never grow and heal. Nothing I'm going to share on this channel I haven't already worked through and spent years of my life working through. That's the big goal. Is I want to show what the effects are of trauma and abuse, how it mangles you. Mangle's a good word. How it mangles you up. And ultimately, it does the worst possible thing that could ever happen to a human being. And that is, it completely controls your time. You see, if trauma and abuse can have your time, you don't ever actually get to live a life. You're just repeating the past. There's a phrase that a very evil man said once, named Hitler. And the phrase was, if you give me a child from age 1 to 5, I'll have him for life. Those are our formative years. A lot of that has to do with the reality around when you're 1 to 5, you don't have the capacity for logical thought because there's no link between your amygdala and your frontal cortex. And so this is why boys and girls around that age are very, very emotional beings. Unfortunately, as a society, and most parents that I see, they have this expectation for their child to be a rational being before their brain even develops the ability to do that, which is really sad. I see it a lot in my life, and it makes me sad because you're not even giving the kid a chance. But those decisions are locked up in your own past and in your own wounding of being unable to actually be who you are because of what your parents are still carrying. This channel for me is about honesty and being honest in ways that I really don't want to. I don't want to do this, but I'm going to do it anyway. And I'm going to do it anyway because I think that there are many people out there that are suffering with the same things that I went through. And I want to stand up and encourage them and say it's worth it to get honest. My next phase of this channel is going to go through what I had to do to be able to become a functional human being, to be free from an addictive, self-destructive, self-loathing filled, self-hatred human being. Because as you can imagine, with the stories that I've shared and the sensitive nature of them, there's truly a spectacular amount of evil I've overcome in my life. And this isn't to denigrate my parents. I think a lot of people get stuck there. I think they blame and they shame a lot because they're not willing to heal. I don't blame them anymore. I don't attack them anymore. I don't have anything against them anymore, which we're going to get into. The journey of how that happened. It took me over a decade to do it. And I'm going to share a lot of wisdom that I've found that truly is shocking to me. I wish I would have known all this stuff up front, but there's nobody that taught me. I had to learn from life itself and suffering itself, it seems. I had to learn from the journey of trial and error and finding people that can father me and help me grow into the man that I am. I didn't have a playbook. I didn't have the resources to be able to get the knowledge and wisdom that I needed either. So the things that I've learned are unique to me because I continued down the path of continual trial and error to find solutions to internal problems that I could not find out in the world. This is the place where my channel really comes down to taking accountability and responsibility for myself, which I think is very difficult for people to do. But there's a lot of things in my life I'm not proud of that I'm going to share going forward in the next couple of weeks. And then from there, my next goal is to be able to share the wisdom that I've learned through suffering. And then beyond that, the further goal is to be able to serve as many people as I can before I die with what I've learned. I really believe that we are all on our own hero's journey. And some of us just don't understand how we got where we are. And I want to break those things down because I believe that human suffering is quite universal. I think that we all go through different things in our lives and trying to identify and understand the meaning of them to ourselves is truly priceless. If you can understand the moments in your life where you felt shame, or you felt guilt, or you felt disappointed in the very one that you are, there's such an unbelievable power that you can release in your life by mastering those parts of your soul that have been lost to the sands of time. You see, us human beings, we believe that our past is something to lay dormant. And I'm here to tell you that all of the keys to your destiny are in your past. All of the keys to who you are in your past. Discovering that and making peace with it is the difference between dying and living a life without truly being here for your purpose, or dying and looking back over the course of your life and saying, I really was me. I was the person that I was sent here to be. We are all unique and divine in our own way. How can we share that with the world? Well, it starts by being able to free yourself up internally so that externally you can have something to offer. I got really afraid to do this particular post because I wanted it to be not contrived. I wanted it to be authentic. I didn't want to sound like one of those internet people that, pay me $1 gazillion, I change your life or something like that. Because that's not who I am. I wanted it to feel like it was coming from a place of a person that genuinely cared about you. And then I realized, what am I doing trying to contrive this whole thing? Just be myself. I had to remind myself tonight that I'm enough just as I am, and it's okay to be you. I don't need to be anything other than me. That's the hardest part, I think, for me with posting on YouTube and the Twitter, Insta, Wham, and all that gram stuff, is I see a sea of people that are wounded, that are trying to resolve father and mother wounds in all the wrong places. And it gives me pause. It makes me think, wow, there are so many people on this planet that need the permission to be human, that need the permission to be themselves, and to be told you have what it takes, you matter, you're important, and no one else can ever be you. You are a unique divine gift to the world. And wherever this video finds you, I want you to know that your life is important, and it's going by second by second by second. The question is, are you living up to the divine purpose that you were brought here to do? And if not, what's in your way? What's in the way of who you are?